over the A minor, pentatonic, diatonic, over the D minor, now over the F, over the E. Hey everybody, Gary here with Guitar Tricks, and in this video I want to help you to not stop using the pentatonic scale. The pentatonic scale is amazing, but I want to help you to transition to the diatonic scale, the diatonic major scale, diatonic minor scale. So we're going to start with our pentatonic major and minor, and then we're going to make it our diatonic major and minor. Why? Because there's two missing notes from the pentatonic. Pentatonic's a 5-note scale. Those 2 extra notes are so juicy and sound so good, and you're missing out on them if you're only playing pentatonic, right? Also, the diatonic scale is kind of the basis for how our Western harmonic system works. Most of the songs we listen to, they use this diatonic scale to create the chords, to create the melodies. So without those 2 notes, you're just missing out on a whole lot. I love to play pentatonic, but I love to add in those missing notes for those different colors to really lock in with certain chords that have notes in them that are not in that pentatonic scale. So I'm going to help you with that. Before we get into the lesson, please go ahead and click subscribe so that you get all of the latest and greatest content from Guitar Tricks. And if you want to be notified of any new lesson, be sure to also tap the bell and let us know in the comments what kind of lessons you'd like to see on the channel. That's where we're always looking. All right, let's get into it. So let's start with A minor. Minor blues in A minor. And I'm going to demonstrate just playing A minor pentatonic. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to keep it to pattern 1. And this little box extension, that's part of pattern 2. But just the top 3 strings when we get to that second box. So that's what I'm going to constrict it to. It's going to be fine. It's going to work fine. A minor pentatonic. Here we go. Man, in my head, I was hearing some of those diatonic tones. All right, now I'm going to play the A minor diatonic scale. Cool. So what was the difference? To me, there were notes I heard on certain chords that were in the diatonic scale that weren't. So, you know, for instance, when I played an A minor. Every chord of the A minor is in the A minor pentatonic. But then I play the 4 chord D minor. And this note is not in the pentatonic. That's one of the missing notes. So here's the pentatonic, A minor pentatonic. And here's A minor diatonic. We're only adding 2 notes per octave. The pentatonic has 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3. Diatonic has 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3. So on that D minor, this scale tone, which in the key is flat 6, is the minor third of that chord, so very juicy. So you heard me do something like, that's all over the A minor. And then I went to that note over this chord. So I just, within that scale, that note is readily available. Right? When I got to this chord, again, this note is in that chord, in the F major. And then when I get to the D7, well, the 5th of that chord is this note, which in the key is the 2nd scale degree. So over the A minor, pentatonic will suffice, but I also like the sound of this note, the 2nd scale degree, also called the 9th relative to the chord. Over the A minor, pentatonic, diatonic. Over the D minor, now over the F, over the E, right? So just more choices, but not just arbitrary choices, like strong choices. Yeah, just 2 extra notes. So now let's say we're in a major key. We're going to use the same scale. And we're in C, because this A minor scale is the C major scale. If you want, it's called relative major and minor. So if you just go up a step and a half from your minor root, you have your major root. If you go down a step and a half from your major root, you have your minor root. Same 7 notes, but the intervals are different because our starting note is different. So in C major pentatonic, we have 1, 2, 3, 5, major 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, major 6, 1. In C major diatonic, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, major 7, 1. So the 4 and the major 7 are new. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Whereas pentatonic was 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1. Same scale though. So now let's just do a chord progression C to F to G. So now I'm just going to improvise with C major pentatonic. you know, all that works. But now diatonic. All right, so I just, again, got a couple key chord tones. That was a 1-4-5 progression in the key of C, went C, F, G. If we think about just those three chords on the C, all in the pentatonic, but in the F chord, this note, the root, is missing from the pentatonic home scale, but it's in the diatonic. And then if we think about the G chord, this chord, or the third of that chord is missing. So in the key, that's the major seventh. So the point here is that if you know all 7 notes in the key, if you're playing a chord progression in the key, you have access to all the chord tones of any chord progression within the key. So more juicy tones, right? But also, let's say on the one chord, I want to make it sound really jazzy. I could do something like... So what I did is I went to the major 7. That's a really jazzy tone, you know? So, you know, we can just get more colors per chord. So, start with just this one pattern, and you're going to add in, relative to minor, you're adding your 2, 1, 2. You had your flat 3, you had your 4th, you had your 5th, you're adding your flat 6, you had your flat 7, you have your 1. Now from 1, again, you're adding 2, you had your flat 3, you had your 4, you had your 5, now you're adding flat 6, you had your flat 7, you had your 1, now you're adding 2, you had your flat 3. Relative to major, you had your 1, but going backwards, you're adding a flat 7. You had your 6. You had your 2, you had your 3, but now you're adding a 4. You had your 5, you had your 6, but now you're adding a major 7. 1, had your 2, had your 3, adding a 4, had your 5, had your 6, adding a major 7. Back to 1. All right, everybody. I hope you understand why pentatonic is awesome. It's not that diatonic is better, but by learning diatonic, it's the building blocks of harmony and chord progressions within a key and melodies. Not that all melodies are diatonic, but so many are. And you're just getting 2 more notes that in all those chords within a key are going to be really colorful chord tones that you could use, and it just gives you more melodic material to work with. So I highly recommend you make that transition from pentatonic to diatonic and learn both, but you could do so by working with the pentatonic scales that you already have and just adding a couple of missing notes. So don't think of them as 2 separate scales. Just think that the pentatonic and the diatonic, they fit together, but you just have to add or subtract 2 notes to go from one to the other. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. If you want to learn more about playing guitar, head over to guitartricks.com. There's sequential courses for guitar fundamentals, blues, country, rock. There's a massive library of song lessons with multi-videos per song, downloadable jam tracks, tablature, all that good stuff. Guitartricks.com. Happy playing, and I'll see you next time.